What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and today it's Christmas Eve, but it's also time to talk through my top must-add waiver wire targets for Week 17, aka the Fantasy Football Championship. We're going to talk through 10 to 15 players, all under 50% owned in ESPN leagues. As always, if you enjoy, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's go.
VVS stones, like this froze, ice cold, ice around my body like I'm frozen, she gon' let me.
Now, as always, these videos are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you check them out. Use promo code ROUND to match your first deposit up to $1,000. There's going to be pick'ems. There's going to be promos going on for the NBA Christmas games. Of course, we have the NFL Christmas games. Make sure you check it out. They have playoff best ball as well if you want to get in on that. I will have links down below in the description and the comment section down below. But our first player we'll talk about, and we're just going to go running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and then a quarterback. And what you bid, it's the final week. It's do or die. Bid whatever you please. But our number one waiver wire ad at running back is Tyjae Spears. He's probably not available in your league, right? 48.2% rostered, but he fits our criteria of under 50% owned. In this past week, he operated in a 60-40 split with Pollard, who's been banged up down the stretch of the season, and he's coming off back-to-back games of 20-plus PPR points. You can see here from the Fantasy Life Utilization Report, he goes from 37% of the snaps in Week 14, then 55%, then 60%. He had 14 opportunities in this game, 2 touchdowns. He had all of the inside the 5 carries as well. So he is in a really, really nice spot here, and I should also get on another screen what the Week 17 matchups are. I want to say, what, are they playing the Jaguars, the Titans? That would be my guess. And if that's the case, that is a banger matchup, even if Pollard does play. Yeah, it's the Jaguars, who lets everybody run all over them. Now, after that, this is a volume play. It wasn't pretty this week, but if he's still out there, right, he's available in like 2/3 of leagues. Patrick Taylor, if you have, a desperation start needed at running back, he got 80% of the snaps, 13 opportunities, just 3.5 PPR points, but the volume is still pretty dang good, and he gets the Lions. That's not a great matchup, but again, you're kind of just hoping that he gets 10 to 15 touches and he falls in the end zone. Then the third one, and this would be in contention for the top spot. The issue is that we don't have enough info on Trey Benson and his health. We have right now a James Conner injury. He left the game early. I have a tweet here from Ryan Heath. James Conner left Week 16 with a knee injury. To that point, he had 19 of 21 backfield opportunities. After that, Michael Carter took every backfield touch, including 5 targets through the fourth quarter/OT. It comes down to, does James Conner miss this week? Does Trey Benson miss this week? If James Conner misses this week, and so does Trey Benson, Michael Carter leaps up to like the top end of this list. If Trey Benson is also active with Michael Carter, then both of them are like in probably like the late RB20s in terms of plays this week, and I would probably give the slight nod to Michael Carter, and they get the Rams this week. So, I mean, they should be, they're going to be on the road as underdogs. I would prefer the pass-catching running back in Michael Carter, and then, of course, Amari DiMercato, who's been in the mix all season, is on IR currently. Now, our fourth running back we'll talk about here is Kendre Miller. He had a rough go last night. It seemed like he was going to be the starter, the main running back here. Instead, he gets outsnapped and outtouched by Jordan Mims. Now, I'm not really going to go out there and add Jordan Mims, but it was this brutal trailing game script that favored the pass-catching running back in Jordan Mims. They, lost by what felt like $1 billion. But this week, they get the Raiders, who should be much more favorable to the running back position, and I think that it'll be a closer game where Kendre Miller could still see like 10 to 15 carries, maybe scores a touchdown. So I'm not completely out on Kendre Miller going into this week. And then we'll talk about the Raiders backfield. These guys are just, if you're desperate, if you need a running back, I think either Amir Abdullah or Alexander Mattison are fine shouts as well, where we have now back-to-back 19.5 plus PPR point games for Amir Abdullah. He had 13 opportunities this week, 19 opportunities for Mattison with 15.6 PPR points. Now, they did just play the Jaguars, who give a ton of points to opposing fantasy running backs. It's not going to be the same, but if you can pencil them both in for 10 plus opportunities in a given week, they're both guys that can make it into your lineup. And then the last running back we'll talk about is Tank Bigsby. He's now had 3 straight weeks with 10 or more carries. Again, if you're desperate, that should work out for you. Now, moving on to the wide receivers. First up, let's talk about Hollywood Brown. He comes back. He doesn't run a ton of routes, but he gets 8 targets. That is good for second behind Xavier Worthy on this team on the Saturday game. He's going to be playing on a short week on Wednesday on Christmas Day. The Ravens, I believe, is who he's playing Pittsburgh, who's actually a tough defense, but if he can get his routes run up there with Justin Watson into like the 20s or like high 20s, maybe flirt with 30, then you start to really get something going there. He's going to be a high upside, low floor play if you do start Hollywood Brown. They apparently want to get him involved, right? 8 targets on 15 routes run is like a 50%. It's over 50% targets per out run, but he was, 4th on the wide receiver depth chart in routes run. So something to definitely keep an eye on. He is somebody that has a very wide range this week. We'll also touch on Romeo Doubs, who just led the Green Bay Packers in routes run. It's something that he pretty much always does. He always leads them in routes run. It's not always pretty, but Christian Watson got banged up last night, so that should even consolidate the routes and the targets more on somebody like Romeo Doubs. And then we'll talk about rookie Jalen McMillan, who's on a bit of a heater if we look at the rookie receiver report. On the entire season, I'm actually probably not even going to show the rookie receiver report, or we'll actually just put it here, because he's actually not been doing that great on it. For the entire season, you can see he's near the bottom in terms of targets per out run, yards per out run, PFF grade. But if you look at over the last 3 weeks, he has a touchdown in each of his last 3 games. He's the wide receiver 11 over the last 3, and he has 1.91 yards per out run, 74.1 PFF grade over his last 3 games, which is pretty dang solid for a rookie. So there's some upside there. And then the last wide receiver we'll talk about in very deep leagues, give me Olamide Zaccheaus. He just had 8 targets, 5 catches, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You have Diami Brown in this game, comes up with a hamstring injury. You have Noah Brown, who's been on IR. He's next man up, really. They don't like Luke McCaffrey at all. They used him. He used dynamic Zaccheaus here. And if he runs, 80% plus of the routes, and they're going to be playing against the Falcons, that's like a neutral matchup. I don't know. That should be all right. Olamide Zaccheaus to me is like a fine, like a fine fringe flex play. And then we'll talk about some tight ends. We have Chig Okonkwo, who was fun as a rookie and then kind of flatlined after that. He set season highs with 83% of the routes run over at the Fantasy Life Utilization Report, and a season high 31% target share as well. He had 11 targets, 9 catches, 81 yards. He's had 10 targets in each of his last 2 games. He's somebody that's making a bit of a late season push here. And then our last tight end we'll talk about is Dalton Schultz. Tank Dell's now gone. Stephon Diggs, of course, was gone. He tied a season-high 8 targets this past week for 5 catches, 45 yards, and 1 touchdown. The targets are consolidating. Tight ends usually get a big boost when this happens, so Dalton Schultz is somebody that you can pick up and start if you need him. And then we'll talk about our quarterback streamer of the week, Drake May. He has hit 18-plus points in 4 of his last 5 games. He gets a neutral matchup at home versus the Chargers. Now, that is going to do it for us today. Hope all of you guys have a happy holidays. I don't know if I'll have another video out this week. Maybe I'll do a stats and starts on Friday, but I'm not sure. Regardless, hope you guys have a great week, a great holidays. Hope everyone out there wins their fantasy football championships. And as always, if you enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.
Stones, like this froze, ice cold, oh, oh.